say the drilling is not going to continue. I'm extremely confident because I can hear them making swooshing noises like they're painting what they just broke. I know if you weren't with me on Tuesday, that's very confusing. It's also confusing that I haven't said hello. Hi, everybody. I'm Abby Haggard. Welcome back. This is episode 477. Ta-da! And I was talking to Marnie Edwards yesterday, and I said, it's odd. I'm going to go with odd that there has been an interesting technical glitch at some point in every one of these videos. And even more odd is that they haven't been the same. Good morning, Rob. Good morning, Maggie. Rob, I'm getting all kinds of questions and queries about the video coming up this weekend. And so I'm going to message you a little bit later to make sure I get all the details. Is that okay? Nod once. And hello, Miss Maggie. How warm is it down there? How warm is it? We have had warm, but we have also had high winds. So it's been warm quickly, going past us fast. And it's unnerving because you're hot, and yet at the same time, you're not sweating because the wind is blowing too hard. It's a very strange thing. That's fine with you? Awesome. So my question today sounds silly. It sounds silly because, excuse me, many things that sort of pop into my head sound silly on the surface. But then if you dig a little deeper, hopefully there's more substance to it. So my question this morning is, are you still a rebel when your feet hurt? Now, I know that some of you would say, well, of course, she's talking about her shoes. And I'm not talking about ridiculous shoes. I'm not talking about where are they, any of those. No, I'm talking about sore feet. Like you've got an ache in your foot, or there's a pebble in your shoe, or just gritty, exhausted, hot, tired feet. So when all of a sudden you realize that, you can't focus, you cannot, I just need to sit down for a minute because the feet are saying, hey, hello, don't make me come up there. And so the question then is, are we able to override something that is really pervasive, really suddenly pervasive? I'm not talking about chronic stuff that lives with us, and certainly that's a whole other conversation. I'm talking about something that suddenly is much bigger than seems reasonable, and your brain goes on high alert because that brain that is looking after everything thinks we're dying. And I don't want to make light of it, but sometimes it feels. And so when it goes there and it says, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, whatever previously it was thinking about, focusing on, it's like, what do we do for the feet? What do we do for this? And so I thought, the conversation that's fascinating, really, once we get past the silliness of it, is good morning, Eddie. Good morning. It's lovely to see you. How are you? How is everything down where you are? The thing about sudden awareness of something obtrusive, something in the way, large, not talking fear-based so much as, whoa. Have you ever been driving down the highway and you look in your rearview mirror and all you can see is the grill of a truck? All you can see is that stuff, and you can't even see the rest of the truck. You think that's close. And everything else you were thinking is gone out of your head because that's imminent danger. That's imminent presence. That's imminent ouch. So what do we do? What do we do when those things come? How do we maintain? How do our heroes do it? And the answer, it was very interesting. I was exchanging comments with an executive coach who is located in England. And I noticed him on LinkedIn, and I noticed that a lot of what he's talking about is very, very closely aligned with what I'm doing, what Gary and I are doing. And good morning, Freddie. Thanks, Eddie. Good morning, Freddie. I still can't see your comments. Billy said he provided a hack to you. And then Billy said it might be on my end, except that I can see everybody else. So I'm not sure what might be going on. And I'm sorry, because it's nice to see your comments while I'm recording as opposed to just after I'm recording. So we'll sort it out. We'll sort it out. So back to the point today is, what do we do when there is a sudden slash through our focus? Because most of us aren't trained for situations like that. You know, if you don't go to basic training, if you don't go to a very, very intensive performance school or competitive sports, or, you know, on the ground like a MASH unit or emergency room, that kind of thing, we aren't trained every day to figure out how to juggle the everything when along comes the big thing. And the reason I wanted to talk about it is that quite often what happens is we freeze. We don't know what to do, and so we don't do nothing, right? The subconscious brain says, give me a minute, I'm thinking, because it doesn't know which way to take us. Hang on a second. And so when the subconscious brain, that ancient brain, primitive brain, I call it the cave brain, when that brain doesn't know what to do, and its response mechanisms are all survival based, primitive based: fight, flee, freeze, hide, comply, right? Those are its go-to responses to everything. When there's a threat, what it chooses when it can't fight or flee, it chooses freeze until it can decide whether to hide or comply. Because hide requires movement, compliance requires collaboration. Freeze gives us a moment. It's like putting us in a timeout. Except that if we're in the middle of something and running downhill or running into the front line or rescuing something or focusing deeply on our work, freezing isn't helpful. We don't want to freeze in the middle of the passing lane on the highway. We want to have another plan. We would like door number 3, please. And so what I want to talk about today is, what can we do? And it's also a function of the technique that I use when I'm coaching. Okay. What we do is we disrupt as opposed to interrupt. Okay. So an interruption is what we're having all the time. Constant interruption. Click, click, video, reel, comment, image, ping. That's interruption. Person sticking their head in through the doorway saying, hey, you got a minute? Can I just borrow you for 60 seconds? That's an interruption. Phone ringing, email pinging, those are interruptions. What we have not learned to do is silence them. Because part of it is sort of adrenaline, because there's a ping and, oh my goodness, is it for me? The other is, oh my God, is it a ping? Is there something wrong for me? And we have not given ourselves a technique that allows us, well, we do have one technique, the thing that I came up with, the later folder. There is a technique where you can pause the button, not freeze, pause, and write down the issue. It takes less than 5 seconds to just write one word. And you'll know what it means immediately. So you don't have to say, I don't have time. Yes, you do. Because the 5-second pause is what stops us from the knee-jerk response that we regret later, correct? So we can certainly use a device like that, provided we have it available. The other thing we can learn to do that is more helpful, but harder to get into the natural habit of, is something that we call a disrupt. So an interrupt is a brief break. A disrupt is a complete change of channel. So you can turn down the radio, and that's an interrupt. Or the commercial comes on, that's an interrupt. But if you change the channel, you're not dealing with whatever was going on or the interruptions. Now, why that's beneficial? Good day, Canucks. Well, good day, Stanley. How y'all doing down there? What we want to be able to do, what we want to learn how to do efficiently and effectively, is create an easy go-to disruption hack. Because what that does, it's very sneaky. When you have a disruption hack, you actually reset your emotional connection to everything back to zero. It's a breath of fresh air. It's bigger than a wait what. It's an, oh, that's better. And it's so important that we learn strategically how to do that in order to get our brains firing the way they used to. You know, somebody a while ago said to me, did I know that goldfish have an attention span of 9 seconds? And I said, how did they do the test? And the person said, that's annoying. You're supposed to react to the fact that it's 9 seconds. And I said, I want to know what the test was. How do you verify the numbers? How do you verify your data? How do you repeat it? I want process here. I want process, systems and process. And they just said, really. So then he said, let me try and say this to you again. Goldfish have an attention span of 9 seconds. And I said, yeah, I know. Yeah, which is 3 seconds longer than us. And you know why? It's because goldfish aren't constantly checking their phones. They're too busy doing tests. So that ended the conversation, which was the whole point of my disrupt, correct? So, wow, that's good, Stanley. It's good to hear from you. So what I'm saying to you is we can take our ownership back as long as that's what we decide to do. It's a conscious decision. It's not just, oh, I know, right? No, it's a conscious decision to say, I'm going to have to come up with something to save my brain, to save my sanity, and to save all the poor people who are counting on me for the thing I was originally doing. So I want to talk to you about the process of a disruption and how easy it is to create your own signature disruption, okay? There's a lovely man who is doing a lot of videos. He's on YouTube. And he's a Brit, and he's talking about the fundamental reset. And when you have a difficult life, when you have been confronted with horrifying things that have left their mark, and sometimes those memories come up unbidden, triggered by things that don't make any sense at all, but at some emotional level, apparently they are remembered by that subconscious brain as similar. And so if you were feeling uneasy, how about this? And all of a sudden it's huge what you're feeling. in terms of unease. And so what this lovely man said was his go-to hack is cold water. And it's any way you like it, any way that works for you. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't require a lot of equipment. You want to plan ahead to be able to make it happen when you want it. And he said, you can have 30 seconds cold water at the end of your morning shower. You can run your hand under cold water. You can get a cloth and soak it in very cold water and then wrap your feet. You can use that same cloth that has been submerged in cold water, and I mean very cold water, right? Basically, what you would do is you wet the cloth and then put it in the freezer for a few minutes. Set the clock, right? 10 minutes, and you've got it very cold. And where you put that cloth is on your pressure points. You put it on your wrist, on the inside of your wrist, the inside of your elbow, under your arm, here on your pressure points here, behind your knees, and the balls of your feet. Any of those. You don't have to do all of them, just one. Because those pressure points have the direct connect. Nobody puts you on hold. You go great to the brain that says, whoa, and then sets everything aside to deal with what that was. So it changes your breathing, because when you impact with the cold wet, you take a very deep breath. It's a gasp, but it's a deep breath. So you have a lot of oxygen coming in, and that clears your head. You have a focus shift at the point where it's cold. So you're not fixated on the thing in front of you. You have the opportunity as well to pay attention to how it feels wherever it is you're holding it, and just focus on that. Now, you're driving. Let's say you're driving and something has happened and you lost your focus. Now, if you know in advance that when you're driving, you want to have something that helps you get yourself back focused, then you're going to have a little cold pack. You're going to have one of those little cold packs with you in the car. You're going to have something that you're going to be able to just hold for a second, and that will give you that. It doesn't take your attention off the road. What it does is it gets rid of all the other signals that are coming in. Because so many of us today, distracted driving doesn't have to have anything to do with a phone. You can have a person in the car with you. You can have several people in the car with you. You can have a pet in the car with you. You can be in a scenario when you're driving that there is something suddenly very wrong within your point of view. There's a train wreck, there's an accident, and everybody is rubbernecking looking at it, and you don't want to do that because you're going to hit this guy or they're going to hit, right? There's so many ways that life in and of itself is a massive distraction. How we get us back, we want to get our ownership back. The trending word for ownership today is agency. I'm not sure why, because it's a convoluted way to define it. I mean, you are an agent, therefore you have agency. It's complicated. Ownership means I'm walking here, and I'm walking here because I chose to walk here. I own it. And I'm not looking at my phone. I'm owning the fact that I'm walking here. I'm watching where I'm walking. You know, Gary and I talk about it all the time, you know, the people who aren't paying any attention. And it's not that somebody's necessarily out to get us. It's that it's a busy world out there and everybody is distracted. And everybody no longer has 9 seconds of attention span. Everybody is thinking of 17 different things simultaneously, right? So how do we, at least how do we start the ball rolling in our direction? And the answer is, instead of interrupt, disrupt. Okay, so I have more. No man is an island. Man, capital M, as in human. No man is an island. We are not hermits. We do not live isolated from every other living thing. We are in interaction all the time. The subtitle of the courses that I used to teach, I used to get hired to teach at teachers' colleges because they're going to be they're going to be very busy for the rest of their lives in about 5 minutes. And so I went in to teach them my disrupt methods for them, first of all, to get their space of sanity, and then dial everybody else down to their spaces of sanity. And the keywords that I used then, that still I use today, the first one is connect. And what I mean by connect is, step number one is get their attention. If you haven't got their attention, just go home, because the other three don't matter. Nothing else matters if you don't have their attention. You are, in fact, an island. So connect. The next word is translate. And by translate, I don't mean from Urdu to Navajo. I mean defining our terms. Translate what I mean in a way that everybody else can recognize and understand. And that translate is that exercise that I use instead of saying, how are you? Because how are you is soft language, and what you get back is fine, and you. And we didn't just have a conversation. We made the polite noises that animals, make. The just the sort of the smile like this. So I'm not going to kill you now. It's that, right? And I said, no. If I'm going to connect with somebody, I want to connect with somebody. I have to translate what I mean into a phrase that people can all relate to. And so my phrase has always been, on a scale of 1 to 10, how's the day so far? Because what happens is they know 1 to 10. And if I say 10, okay. And now they stop what they were doing. That's a disrupt. They stop what they were doing. They think about it, and they give you a number. They evaluated how the day is working out for them so far. And they tell you. And when they tell you, they're also realizing that is, in fact, how the day is working out so far. Gaetan's service dog motion in putting his paw on his knee, that was pattern disrupt. Oh, definitely disrupt, Eddie. Definitely disrupt. And the reason, and thank you, that's a brilliant example. The reason that the PTSD service dog's paw on the human partner's person is a disrupt is first of all, it's physical contact. And secondly, the dog's energy is not where the human's energy is. The dog makes the motion. Dog doesn't go, the dog just puts the paw. And the person focus is there now, as opposed to wherever that was. And the dog is calm. The dog lives in the present. What we were going through was not here. It was some other place, some emotional memory. And the dog brings us back to now. So it's a great example. Thank you. Good morning, Rhea. It's good to see you. So see, I love this. I love the way these videos unfold, because I'm doing one conversation, and the buy-ins and the opt-ins are brilliant because it means that we're all in this together. So thank you. Thank you when you all do this. Do more. It's not do more to be more, just keep going. It's wonderful. So when you have this understanding that you can step away from vague and lean into precise, that allows everyone to be on the same page. That creates auto translate because everybody understands basic numbers. Everybody understands tangibles. If you say, is it hot in here? That is not helpful because hot is soft language. If you say, is it above or below freezing? Is it above or below my body temperature? Now we're getting somewhere. Now we have a conversation that everybody understands and buys into for themselves, because everybody has an idea of their body temperature and everybody knows what it's like when the weather. I lived in Florida for a while. Maggie lives in Florida. She says I live on the surface of the sun. No, I felt that I lived in a very sad, warm kind of fog, that when you stepped out of your air-conditioned apartment or car, the air was just heavy and slow. And you just kind of, like, if you'd ironed your clothes that morning, it doesn't matter now. A, they're wet, and B, hanging. There's no starch, there's no crisp, there's no, we're walking here. It's just kind of a it's the air itself. It's not that it's raining. It's just so humid. When you can be in a place where the humidity is higher than 100% and it's not raining, now there is something that is difficult to disrupt. If the brain fog and the complete body exhaustion that you feel is overwhelming, that has the same impact on us as a sudden sharp pain in the ball of our foot when we're trying to be a hero. You're a hero, you're doing the thing, you're going, you're doing, it's this, you open a door. And it's not that it's a blast furnace. It's not like backdraft. It's just this fug of ick. And everything about it is a disrupt. Your brain does this, your emotional brain does this. I don't know what this is. This doesn't feel like something I should be breathing. And in the meantime, if you are a first responder, if you are the MASH unit doctor and the choppers have just flown in, are we all just channeling MASH there for a second? If you are somebody who is an ambulance first responder, if you are in the firefighting, if you are police, if you are first aid, if you are trauma rescue, if you are firefighters out in the in the wildfires, if you are on a ship at sea, if you are battling high winds, tornadoes, hurricanes, you cannot afford brain fog. You cannot afford that fug of listless mental capacity. You can't. So that's why I say what we need is we need to have the simple disrupt. So cold is good. Touch is good. If we have a code word that we can use, one of the things that I did when I was dealing with some really difficult things, I had received a phone call from police uh, I was in New York, working in New York. I received a phone call that they'd found my father dead. And I had to make immediate arrangements to fly down. And I managed to get, I said, I need a contact number and where do I go and what do I do? And the fellow was very, very good. And what the policeman said was, get a piece of paper that you can put in your pocket, put in your purse, and in big bold letters, write the word safe, SAFE. And just make sure you have that with you. If it's a Post-it note, great. You need to have it with you because that word is going to center you. That word is going to stop your emotional brain from spinning because safe is the goal. And if you're safe, then you have permission to think. You have permission to be strategic in what you do. So cold water is good. A word that is simple and easy and means what you need it to mean in block letters is good. Having something, some tangible thing that you maybe have in your pocket. You know, people used to have worry beads or something, some sort of talisman. Gary has a coin. People wear a cross. You need something tangible to be able to touch. And when you choose to put it on, you create a ritual. These are redirect rituals that I'm talking about. And because the redirect literally is two things. It is not only pivotry in that now we are here. It is both direction and platform, both. It's direction, platform, and purpose. So if what we're doing is something we're listening to, and we need to create that redirect, then it can't be something we listen to. It has to be something we see. It has to be something we feel. It has to be something we do. Because the brain has to shift directions. It has to redirect its focus that we are using a different platform, a different method. If we're going somewhere on foot and we can get on a bicycle or we can get in a car or we can get on a scooter, if we're walking and we run, if we take extra big steps, and we don't need to do it for a long time. We don't need to look like the Department of Silly Walks. But if we say, okay, for 10 steps, double the size, and all that does, that is a redirect, a refocus that your brain automatically resets. And when it resets, it doesn't bring the emotion with it. It starts from zero. So why is this important? Why am I talking about this kind of thing now? And the answer is because it's important now. It's always been important. The difference between us now and then is that back then there were saber-toothed whatnots waiting outside the cave. And it was really important to be able to redirect focus, path, and purpose. Why? Because saber-toothed whatnot, and it might be their lunchtime. What do you do when you decide to go in the ocean and you see a fin swimming towards you? Redirect as fast as you possibly can. Probably you can't learn to walk on water right in this moment, but the next best thing. So first thing is you didn't go into the water by yourself. Second is before you went in the water, you had that second plan. Because life is not as easy as we have come to believe. And one of the things that is so strange about the way we take so much of life for granted is I think really, and you'll probably let me know if I'm on target, but every time we have had something invented to make our life easier, And we have therefore been able to do different things. What it took away was some of the sweat equity that we used to need to use. I'm not I'm not against improvements. I'm certainly not against making tasks easier. My point is this, hang on a second. My point is, when we invented it, we didn't consider the now what. This is going to be so much easier. You'll have so much more leisure time to do all the things you wanted to do. Well, what if we didn't have any? Well, that's my point. You'll be able to. Yeah. But if we never did any, we didn't have any. So if there's a machine milking the cows instead of me getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, well, that's awesome. But what am I doing at 4:45? After I got up on automatic pilot, I had my shower and I put on my clothes and I'm facing the front and I don't have to go out. What do I do now? Well, something that you want to do. I get it. I get it. Did you have any idea what that might be? Because I don't. So we have not planned for our new life. We have lived the Disney dream that goes, and they all lived happily ever after. Because that's an incomplete sentence. After what? And how? How did they live after the prince married Cinderella? And they all, okay, so they got married. What did they do the next week? What did they do the next Tuesday? Was she still cleaning cinders? No, of course not, sweetheart. You don't do that anymore. You're the wife of a prince. You're a princess. Good. I have no training as a princess. What should I do? Well, I don't know. You can sing and dance and braid ribbons in your hair. What? Pardon? Well, you could get together with all the other princesses. Yeah, I've met all the other princesses when I was cleaning cinders out of their fireplaces. We didn't really have a lot in common then. No, but you're married to me now. Okay. So we have not planned for the new life that we live. What we do then is we just fill the space with the first thing that comes along. Somebody with a bright idea says, here's a thing, fill space with that. And so we pick up hobbies, which is wonderful, unless we don't have any hobbies. Or we get one of these things and we consider it both a communications tool and a hobby. Okay. But what are we doing? What are we doing? Because life is not a spectator sport. And there are heroes among us. There are crazy people who run toward danger because they're wired that way. And if there's nowhere for them to run to, what are they supposed to do? What are they supposed to do? What do our heroes do? So what we are talking about in these days of difficulty is everyone has something to say, always have had, and several platforms where they can say it. Does it mean that it's correct? Does it mean that it's wise? Does it mean that it's interesting? No. It just means that everyone has something to say, and now they have a place to say it. Now they have places to say it. So what are we doing? What are we choosing for our ownership when it's easy? So we know what to do when it's hard. I tripped and fell a year ago on a pebble sticking up between two sidewalk slabs. I accidentally stepped directly on the pebble, and then I became a one-legged table. I went poof, and I was on my way into a fan convention, not to have a booth or dressed as anything, but just as a guest to go and see some people. And I and I fell sideways, and I, like this. And all of a sudden there's a hand under each arm, and I'm being lifted to my feet, and I'm set down, and a voice says, "Are you okay?" And I turn and I look, and I have been lifted by two creatures from I have no idea where, and they're wearing some kind of moon boots because they're about 8.5 feet tall. And I thought, I couldn't get up. I couldn't get up, and I'm 5'7". They're 8 feet tall, and they had no problem leaning all the way over without falling on their noses, picking me up, setting me on my feet. And then they said, "We'll walk you in." And so I walked in. I said, please don't lift me off the ground so I look like a cartoon. Please don't do that. And they were saying, "Oh, darn." So the three of us walked in. We walked into the back door, for the tradespeople, the celebrities and so on, the booth people. And I got a standing ovation from everybody and I said, no. I'd like to thank all the little people, but mostly I'd like to thank the two big people. And it was very funny. And I walked around and I saw all the people because I no pain. And then about 3 weeks later, I was doing something perfectly ordinary, and the outside of my right knee twinged. And it was yeah, like the thing I'm talking about. When your feet hurt, are you still a hero? Are you still a rebel? Are you still fighting for the cause? And whatever it is I had thought I was doing right up until that knee twinge was gone, gone. And I'm going, ow. And I'm thinking, where the hell did that come from? What is that? And I'm putting my hand on it. I'm like, it doesn't hurt. And I thought, all right. So I carefully walking. I'm fine. Nothing hurts. And I thought, I see. Maybe I imagined it. And I went about my day. And then a while later, it happened again. And it just kind of happened. And, I say to myself, well, these are things meant to keep us on our toes. So the other day, there was a fire alarm in the building. And I have since discovered, since I did that last year, that it's very painful for me to walk downstairs if I lead with my strong foot. So I lead with my weak knee, that leg, and then I walk down like a little 5-year-old, one step at a time, with my hand on the rail. So I'm walking down the stairs, and a fellow is coming up from behind me, and he said, "Torn meniscus?" And I said, "I beg your pardon?" Abby Haggard. And he said, no, my name's whatever. He said, "You have a torn meniscus." And I said, "What is a torn meniscus?" And he said, I'm a physiotherapist. Did you fall?" And I said, "Well, yeah, a year ago." And he said, "Oh, you haven't had it looked at?" "No." "What's a torn meniscus?" He said, "Well, it's a ligament thing." He said, "Next time I see you, I'll get you a couple of exercises for it." I said, "Oh." He said, "In the meantime, did you want me to help you down the stairs?" "No, I'm good." So I, hobbled down. And of course, the alarm stopped pinging on the third floor. So the thing is, am I going to turn around and go back up? No, I'm going to go down 3 more floors and take the elevator back up. And I realized that there was a name for the twinge in my knee. And that gave me an opportunity to know it. It gave me an opportunity to say hello to it. It gave me an opportunity to identify what was getting in my way. So it wasn't a mythical, oh my God. It's just a thing. It's a condition. Is it inconvenient? Oh, yes. When it twinges, I can't quite see Cleveland, but I can almost see Rochester, New York. And the idea is we would like to take care of that because it's inconvenient. And we don't. Now, why is any of this important? Air traffic controllers, firefighters, brain surgeons, runaway trucks, black ice, hurricanes, tornadoes, wildfires, children who fall into swimming pools, animals that live in the wild and we have encroached their territory. Do we have tools for that can redirect our confused, fogged brains? Do we have simple hacks that can reset us into full focus now? Are we able to shut down the brain that just wants to think about this and this and, oh, look at that, and, oh my God, I didn't realize that came in blue? Are we able to control that? No? Well, I have news for you. Yes, we do. There is work we can do, simple exercises, and I don't mean exercises, very simple exercises we can do. And this condition that I'm talking about, what we are missing now, is what happens when this clever part of our brain here that connects the thinking brain and the emotional brain, the survivor brain, this brain here, when it can't work, when it's not okay, everything falls apart. This brain is responsible for executive function. And the word executive is not the CEO. It's performing, it's executing actions and interactions and collaborations so that the result is transformations. This brain, the executive function, this prefrontal cortex, is translator boy, translator girl. It takes information and it puts it into terms, into context that the thinking brain and the emotional brain can both separately understand. When this brain is connected to this brain and this brain simultaneously, and they are integrated, it's teamed strategy, it's teamed response. It's not solitary. If one thing isn't working well, the other two compensate. How do I know this? Well, how do you think I'm still here? And the outcome is something called strategic excellence. Not just fabulous, darling. Fabulous on demand. Fabulous right now, this way, this moment, on demand, no delay. Strategic excellence is the gateway to this condition. It's a strange condition is the wrong word. It is called flow, the state of flow, FLOW. State of flow is where you get when the three are so connected that you're going to recognize it immediately when I explain it. You lose track of time. You're completely down the rabbit hole doing the thing you do. Your total focus is the thing you're doing. Other interruptions aren't interruptions. Other disruptions aren't disruptions. You're in and you're winning. That's flow. Elite athletes, they train to maintain their access to that. When you have flow, it is almost like you're not here. You're not here. You're not in any of these other things. You're here now completely. I get there sometimes, and people actually have to physically touch me because I haven't heard them say my name and they're standing beside me. Is that dangerous? Yes. If I'm out in the wild, we don't want to be doing that. When I'm out in the wild, I want to be listening for the animals. I want my flow to be there. People have lost access to it. Who does that hurt? All of us. Who do I normally work with? Everybody. Well, but like, do you do executive coaching? Sure. The CEO The CEO who has a dynamic business or just a regular business that people love, or an innovating business, it's got something new, or it's salvaging something and it's pulling everybody back out of the muck with it. And the CEO of that business is overwhelmed by something personal, the death of something, the loss of something, a horrific accident, feet hurt, something, and they can't focus. They can't find their way back to it. They're stuck. They need the tool. They need the hack. They need the disrupt to get back. It's a terrific coach in England. He said, my clients, when they first come to me, they say, I'm just not feeling like my best self. And I read that and I thought, that's exactly it. You just know something's off and you don't know why and you don't know for how long. All you know is you have to get it back. So the disrupt tool, tactic, hack is going to be the one that works for you. You don't need to do a mantra. You don't need to say things 3 times and turn around and spit. You don't have to do anything complicated. You need one thing that works. And the umbrella definition is you need cold water. Pour cold water on it. If it's not cold water, then it's the next best thing. It's a code word. It's a physical thing. It's something you carry. It's something that you can write down. And when you create it, when you get it organized, when you have it ready for you, and you remind yourself to bring it with you, you are giving yourself permission to own your moment. You're giving yourself permission to be a special agent because you have agency. You're walking here. And this is what we all excel at. This is our superpower. It is transferable. But it's like anything. We need to practice. We need to make sure the tank is full. We need to be able to be the rebel when our foot hurts. So I'm starting to be more aggressive about this because I'm starting to see more people who are really struggling. I am on Facebook. I am on LinkedIn. I am on YouTube. I live in Ottawa, Canada. Bunches of people know me. You don't have to tell anybody that you're worried about you. You can just reach out to me and we'll see what we can do. Is that fair? I hope so. Wish I could have hired you with Tony Greco. Oh my God. Now that would have been, Ray, Tony and I actually did a project together. We actually coached some of his people at one of his fitness clubs together. Boy, that was a moment in time. Picture that. Wow. What a blast from the past. What I want for us, for thee and me, is best quality of everything. I don't mean throw the cat another goldfish and peel me a grape. I mean the best quality. The thing that says, yes, yes. I get into bed at night, put my head on the pillow and I say, oh, yes. Yep. Yeah, that's good. We deserve it. So you know the drill, right? Be good to you. You deserve it as much as anyone. And remember to hug your loved ones because they deserve it too. Thank you. Thank you for making this happen. 477. 500 is looming around the corner. It's going to be a moment. So, update just before I go. Rob has an insane, fabulous first half of our conversation. It's going to be on YouTube on Saturday afternoon, Eastern time, 4 o'clock. And I think it's called, well, Rob Baugh, his last name. It's called Brain Rewired, I think. I'm going to double check and I'll be posting it. Check it out. And I'll when I can get the thing, I'll put the link up so you can find it. All right. That's going to be awesome because we had an amazing talk and it's just part one. So that's happening Saturday. Apparently this Saturday also, here's an insane thing for a Viking whose parents are from England. England and Norway are playing on Saturday. Well, I don't know what I'm going to do with my brain. Gary said, I don't know what I'm going to do. How do you divide? How do you cheer for both? Craziness. And the weather is turning a little better towards sensible, which is great. So look for the reasons that your 1 out of 10, how's your day, is above 5. Look for them and take them and run like you stole them because you deserve it. All right. And I will catch you